The anime starts off by showing the main character, who is caught up in thoughts about his crush. This girl, known as Runa Shirakawa, is recognized as the most beautiful girl in her class. Now, the main character himself, Ryudo Kashima, isn't exactly good looking. He's into video games and watches others play. At 16, he's never had a girlfriend and has only a couple of friends. Ryudo and Runa seem like they're in different worlds, and the shy Ryudo can only watch Runa from afar. Things change when Ryudo and Runa end up in a room together. Runa tries to do Inkiponki with him. Then, the scene moves to the classroom where a teacher hands out surveys to everyone. Ryudo sits by himself, looking at Runa, who's in the same class. Some guys in the class talk about Runa, saying they want to be her boyfriend. People say Runa switches boyfriends every 2 or 3 months, giving them hope. Ryudo hears these rumors but doesn't really care because he thinks it's impossible for him to get close to Runa. Ryudo tries to count how many friends want to hang out with him. He figures out there are only 2, Aikai and Nishi. They seem a bit gloomy, like his geek buddies. Ryudo is surprised when Runa says hi and asks to borrow a pencil for a questionnaire. She fills out the questions on Ryudo's desk, leaning down and showing her cleavage. Ryudo can't help but stare at Runa's beauty. He wonders why someone like her would talk to him. Remembering Runa from their first year, where she treated everyone the same, Ryudo tries to snap out of it. Runa finishes the questionnaire, gives the pencil back, and thanks Ryudo with a sweet smile. She hands the questionnaire to the teacher and leaves with her friends. It's a short moment for Ryudo, but it's enough to make him fall in love. The lunchtime scene shifts to the school rooftop, where Ryudo and his 2 friends are having lunch. Aikai, one of his friends, talks about watching Ken's live stream, a gamer they all admire, until it ended, making him feel tired from lack of sleep. The other friend, Nishi, almost arrived late for school because he was watching another gamer's live stream that Ryudo admires. Ryudo appreciates Aikai and Nishi for keeping up with Ken's videos while he struggles to do so. However, they all feel overwhelmed because Ken chooses to stream when they are busy with exams. The announcement of exam scores is approaching, and Aikai and Nishi are worried about their grades. If their grades drop, they'll be banned from playing games and using their phones. Ryudo tries to reassure them, mentioning his own lack of confidence in exams. Despite his words, Aikai and Nishi don't believe him and label him a traitor, leaving Ryudo puzzled. Suddenly, Nishi proposes a bet. Whoever has the best grades among them will have to obey the commands of the person with the lowest grades. Finally, the exam results were received by them. Nishi and Aikai got poor grades, while Ryudo received an excellent score, surpassing both of them by far. Nishi quickly reminded them of their agreement, pointing out that as the one with the lowest grades. Aikai immediately instructed Ryudo to confess his feelings to a girl he liked. Continuing, Aikai mentioned that given Ryudo's dumb personality, the rejection from the girl was certain. This way, Ryudo would go through the same sense of despair experienced by Aikai and Nishi. At that moment, Ryudo was already in the park, with his 2 friends secretly observing from behind the bushes. In his heart, Ryudo contemplated refusing his friend's request, but he valued his friends immensely. Without them, enduring school would have been even more challenging. Besides, he thought it was better to eliminate his unrequited feelings for Runa by getting rejected by her. Before waiting in the park, a letter had been discreetly placed by Ryudo in Runa's shoe locker with the hope that she would come. However, Ryudo was uncertain about her attendance. Shortly afterward, it turned out that Runa did arrive at the park. She approached Ryudo, confirming he was the letter's sender. Nervously, Ryudo admitted the letter was from him. Curious, Runa inquired about the purpose of their conversation. Overwhelmed with anxiety, Ryudo hesitated to meet Runa's gaze. Despite his initial hesitation, he was pleasantly surprised by Runa's friendly demeanor towards him. Summoning his courage, Ryudo finally looked at Runa's face, finding a sweet smile that deeply impressed him. It was at that moment that Ryudo confessed his love to Runa. Surprised, Runa attempted to maintain her usual calm composure. She questioned Ryudo about the reason for his affection, and he replied that it was because she was very sweet. Struggling with his emotions, Ryudo reached a point where he wished to disappear from the situation. Unexpectedly, Runa accepted Ryudo's confession, leaving him in a state of shock. Ryudo questioned whether this was reality or if Runa was playing a prank on him. While he contemplated this, Runa approached him from a relatively close distance. Gazing into Ryudo's face, she sought confirmation of whether he would date her. Without hesitation, Ryudo answered in the affirmative. Runa acknowledged his response and invited him to walk home together. Witnessing this surprising turn of events, Aikai and Nishi, hiding behind the bushes, were left in disbelief. Runa and Ryudo were observed as they walked home together. Ryudo, still in disbelief, found himself walking alongside Runa. While they strolled, Runa took the letter that Ryudo had written earlier, read it, and inquired about the pronunciation of his name. Ryudo, blushing, replied that his name was Kashima. Runa complimented it, expressing that she found it cool. Curious, Ryudo asked Runa why she wanted to date him, considering that, in his opinion, she didn't love him and barely knew him. Runa's response was that she wanted to understand Ryudo better and develop affection for him. She also admitted to having a slight crush on him because of his confession of love. This revelation surprised Ryudo. He learned that Runa's crush on him stemmed from that confession. On the other hand, Runa felt a bit irritated because she didn't fall in love with just anyone. She had her own preferences. She mentioned disliking men with long nails or those who allowed sweat to accumulate under their noses. Ryudo was surprised again to discover that these were the only reasons Runa disliked certain guys. Runa emphasized that we should be happy when someone expresses love for us. Ryudo thought Runa viewed love too lightly. But Runa explained that though she might casually say I love you, over time it could develop into genuine love. This insight made Ryudo realize that Runa dated frequently not because she was popular, but because she accepted various declarations of love. Runa disclosed that, despite the perception that she frequently broke up due to boredom, the reality was the opposite. She took dating seriously, rejecting other suitors even if they confessed while she was already in a relationship. Runa added that, up until now, she hadn't experienced true love. Despite her many dating experiences, people misunderstood her, assuming she broke up often because she got bored. In truth, Runa rejected new suitors even while in a relationship, demonstrating her commitment to serious and genuine connections. Finally, the train was boarded by the two of them together. While on the train, Ryudo pondered to himself about the rumor that suggested Runa changed boyfriends every 2 or 3 months. Despite his curiosity, Ryudo still didn't know the real reason behind it. As the train reached its stop, Ryudo bid farewell to Runa and exited. However, she asked him to accompany her home. Upon arriving at Runa's house, Ryudo bid goodbye, but Runa invited him to come inside for a while. With both of Runa's parents at work and her grandmother attending a dance class, the house was empty. Ryudo accepted Runa's offer, and they entered the house, proceeding straight to Runa's room. Ryudo felt a bit awkward since it was his first time in a girl's room. To make some tea, Runa hurried out of the room, leaving Ryudo alone. While glancing around, Ryudo found his thoughts taking a peculiar turn. His attention was unintentionally drawn to a slightly open drawer, piquing his curiosity. It seemed to contain Runa's belongings, specifically her underwear. Despite his conscience advising against it, Ryudo felt a strong desire to take a peek. Succumbing to the temptation, he cautiously pulled the drawer open, revealing the contents that brought a smile to his face. Unexpectedly, Runa entered the room, noticing the open drawer. Assuming she had forgotten to close it after placing the tea on the table, she approached and retrieved a short dress she had bought with friends. Ryudo felt relieved that it wasn't underwear. In his heart, he promised not to pry into others' belongings again. Runa invited Ryudo to sit, and he hesitated, unsure where to sit. The only available spot was next to Runa on her bed. Confused and with a flushed face, negative thoughts raced through Ryudo's mind. However, Runa had a different perspective. She suggested Ryudo take a shower first. Perplexed, Ryudo watched as Runa unbuttoned her shirt. Though momentarily captivated, he gathered his composure and asked about their plans. Runa, assuming an intimate encounter was evident, was puzzled when Ryudo expressed hesitancy. Ryudo questioned the rush, considering their recent meeting. Runa innocently believed such activities were a standard part of a relationship and expected the girl to take the initiative. Ryudo, valuing their relationship, clarified his intentions to engage in such things at the right time. He asked if Runa was eager for it, only to discover she hadn't given it much thought and believed it was an obligation. This led Ryudo to ponder if Runa's previous relationships ended because men were only interested in her body. It seemed that those who pursued Runa were more focused on physical aspects and eventually left her. Runa was curious and asked Ryudo once again if he wasn't interested in doing Inkiponki today. Deep down, Ryudo genuinely wanted to, realizing that such chances might not come around often. However, he hesitated, not wanting to repeat the behaviors of Runa's past boyfriends. Eventually, he firmly declined her request later that evening. As they left Runa's house, Runa observed Ryudo and considered him a serious person, distinct from her previous boyfriend. Ryudo, feeling embarrassed, admitted that this was his first time dating, lacking female friends because he was told they weren't interested in him. Offering advice, Ryudo suggested to Runa that if she was pondering the things mentioned earlier, it would be wise to think it over first. He emphasized that he didn't want her to feel obligated. In response, Runa expressed that perhaps they would engage in intimate activities, but only when their love had genuinely developed. Ryudo, with conviction, advised patience, urging her to wait for the right time. Once home, however, Ryudo regretted his decision, feeling he could have acted differently with Runa earlier. Ryudo couldn't believe that he, an average-looking young man, was now in a relationship with the stunning Runa. As he walked to school, a message on his phone informed him that Runa had overslept. Ryudo assured her she could still make it to the first class, exchanging messages with her nervously, worried she might be late. Suddenly, the door opened, and there was Runa. The teacher let her in, and she took her seat, giving Ryudo a beautiful smile that made him blush. During lunch break on the rooftop with his friends Aikai and Nishi, Ryudo mentioned visiting Runa's room. Nishi and Aikai assumed things had gotten intimate between them, but Ryudo clarified he needed mental preparation and hadn't gone that far. His friends, frustrated, doubted the sincerity of Runa in their relationship, thinking it was just a game due to their different social ranks. After lunch, Ryudo entered the classroom where Runa was chatting with her friends. Runa approached him, but he noticed Nicole, her close friend, glaring at him. Nicole seemed displeased, and Ryudo, feeling frightened, quickly left, using the excuse of unfinished homework. Runa, constantly trying to engage Ryudo in conversation, made him uncomfortable due to judgmental looks, especially from Nicole. Walking through the school corridor, Ryudo asked Runa if she had informed anyone else about their relationship. Runa revealed she had only told Nicole, and Ryudo realized Nicole's disapproving looks might be because she knew about them being a couple. Ryudo admitted feeling observed whenever Runa talked to him, prompting Runa to suggest keeping their relationship a secret. Ryudo agreed, proposing they only talk about it on weekends and outside of school hours. Runa took it as an invitation for a date and happily accepted, informing Ryudo that Sunday was not available, so they would have their date on Saturday. Upon returning home, Ryudo experienced significant confusion. It was clear he had never been on a date before. While searching for guidance on the impending date, a video call from Runa interrupted his browsing. With nervousness and hesitation, Ryudo eventually answered the call. Runa, it turned out, wanted to discuss their plans for the upcoming date. With a touch of hesitation, Ryudo suggested going to the movies, considering it was their first date. When asked about the movie choice, Ryudo stumbled, admitting he only watches a film once a year. Before Ryudo could respond, Runa inquired further about why he wanted to go on a date with her. In a shy tone, Ryudo explained his desire to get to know Runa better and mentioned he wasn't particularly fond of going to the city, so he would follow Runa's preferences. During the conversation, Runa shared that it was the first time she had a boyfriend who spoke like that. This prompted Ryudo to contemplate what activities Runa enjoys. However, his thoughts took an unexpected turn, as he began imagining that she might enjoy going to a hotel on their date. The following day, a date was planned by the two of them. Ryudo felt a sense of relief upon discovering that shopping was Runa's favorite activity. Runa's appearance, eye-catching and sweet, stood in stark contrast to Ryudo's plain look. After purchasing various items, they took a break to enjoy refreshing drinks. It was during this break that Runa, with a sweet expression, asked Ryudo if he was okay with a potentially boring day. Ryudo denied it being dull, but Runa didn't believe him, thinking he wasn't paying attention to her choices. In response, Ryudo explained that, in essence, it wasn't boring because he enjoyed looking at Runa and her sweet expressions when she found clothes she liked. Blushing, Runa's phone rang shortly after, a call from her friend Nicole checking up on her, possibly out of concern. Ryudo started to wonder if Nicole had forbidden Runa from dating him. He also began to believe it was impossible for a beautiful girl like Runa to love him. Ryudo's fears seemed justified when the next day, Runa didn't respond to his messages, which was a first since they started dating. Remembering that Runa had plans on Sunday, Ryudo questioned what kind of commitment could prevent her from responding for over 4 hours. Worried, he began to think that Runa might be dating someone else. To ease his mind, Ryudo decided to play a game and forget about it. The following morning, upon reaching the school, Ryudo noticed Runa chatting with a group of guys, and it bothered him a lot. Nishi and Aikai, upon seeing this, attempted to comfort Ryudo, thinking that facing such situations was something bound to happen for someone they perceived as not very attractive. As the day passed, Ryudo made his way back home. Upon entering, he found a message on his phone from Runa requesting to meet her at the station. Instantly, the idea crossed Ryudo's mind that Runa might want to end their relationship. Later, at the park near the station, Ryudo arrived to meet Runa. He mentally prepared himself for whatever decision she had made. Before Ryudo could express anything, Runa proudly revealed her new Asasa phone case, which she found incredibly cute. She shared the challenge of obtaining it due to its limited stock, allowing only one purchase per person. To Ryudo's surprise, Runa presented another identical case and gave it to him. Perplexed, Ryudo wondered how Runa managed to get 2 cases when the rule allowed only 1 per person. Runa disclosed that she had sought help from Nicole, and they had gone together after playing games all morning, running out of battery before the store opened. Runa's intention was to have matching phone cases with Ryudo. Though Ryudo accepted the case, he seemed quiet, leaving Runa confused, thinking he didn't like the case or want to match with her. Holding the phone case she had given him, Ryudo explained that his silence was due to a lack of confidence. He felt incredibly happy that someone as beautiful and sweet as Runa had chosen him, an ugly guy, as her boyfriend. Runa was touched that Ryudo appreciated her effort in surprising him. On the way back home, Runa mentioned that she had been surprised earlier, worrying that Ryudo might not appreciate the surprise she had prepared for their one-week anniversary. Ryudo apologized and opened up about a personal story from his first year of junior high school when he confessed his feelings to a girl named Kuros Maria, who sat next to him in class. Despite Maria initially reciprocating his feelings, she later rejected him and saw him only as a good friend, leaving Ryudo with a lack of confidence around girls. Rana then shared that her parents had been dating since their first year of junior high school, eventually getting married after graduating from senior high school. Inspired by their love story, Rana expressed her desire for a similar romance. As they were talking, a sports car drove by, catching Rana's amazement. Ryudo explained that it was a rare GR Supra RZ Blue Edition, with only 100 units produced, providing details about the differences between sports cars and regular cars. Rana, somewhat bewildered by Ryudo's explanation, forgave him after his prompt apology. During their conversation, Rana compared herself to a sports car, speeding through life to catch up to her parents and become an adult. Despite her numerous experiences, her relationships tended to end quickly, and she felt that her heart remained childlike. Rana confessed to struggling with complicated matters, often preoccupied with fashion and delicious desserts like parfait. Ryudo reassured her that sports cars are built for enjoying the journey rather than reaching the destination quickly. He highlighted that, like Rana, who had many friends, frequently dated, and enjoyed her youth happily, she was already living her life to the fullest, akin to what a sports car represents. Encouraged by this perspective, Rana decided to continue embracing life enthusiastically. In his heart, Ryudo acknowledged that he might not catch up to Rana quickly, but he expressed his desire to get to know her better. Upon reaching home, Nicole was called by Rana, who shared that the surprise had succeeded. Nicole responded by suggesting that Rana might not be the right match and should avoid pushing herself. Rana, uncertain until now, expressed feeling at ease with Ryudo and wanted to continue dating him. Nicole, however, insisted firmly that she still couldn't trust Ryudo. The next day, Rana and Ryudo entered class as usual, blushing and displaying matching phone cases. The teacher then announced the arrival of a new student. As the new student entered, Ryudo felt a sense of recognition. Indeed, the new student turned out to be Kuros Maria, the girl who had once been close to Ryudo and rejected his confession of love. A new student named Maria was introduced by the teacher, and the male students in the class expressed their joy at the arrival of their new classmate. Ryudo, recalling his past when Maria had rejected his feelings, couldn't help but feel a bit uneasy. Maria introduced herself, mentioning that she had spent 3 years away from the town and had now returned. During the introduction, Maria realized that Ryudo was in the same class. Ryudo, considering himself an unimportant part of Maria's past, decided not to get too involved with her. However, to his surprise, the teacher suggested that Maria sit right next to Ryudo, leaving him in shock. As Maria took her seat, she asked Ryudo to confirm if he was the person she had known before. Ryudo nodded in agreement, feeling worried that the topic of his past confession might come up again. Consequently, he decided to keep his distance from Maria. During the break, it was decided by Ryudo to leave the classroom. Outside, he found Nicole waiting for him, and she invited him to go out. It turned out that Nicole wanted to talk to Ryudo at a restaurant. They sat across from each other, and as a nervous Ryudo asked if he had done something wrong, Nicole, enjoying her French fries, mentioned that cold fries wouldn't taste good. After finishing her fries, Ryudo nodded nervously. Nicole brought up the topic and asked if Ryudo knew that next Sunday was Rana's birthday. Ryudo's reaction revealed that he had no knowledge of it. Nicole became furious and questioned the seriousness of Ryudo's relationship with Rana. Ryudo affirmed his seriousness, but Nicole reminded him that if he was serious, he should know Rana's birthday. Nicole urged Ryudo to celebrate Rana's birthday and wanted to keep it a secret from Rana. Ryudo asked Nicole about Rana's likes because he wanted to plan a surprise for her on her birthday. Rana agreed to share the information, but while they were alone, someone from a distance outside took a picture of them. After that, at the station, Rana was already waiting for Ryudo. She immediately showed him a photo in their group chat with the accompanying text, "Nicole is dating a nerdy guy." It was a photo of Ryudo and Nicole chatting at the restaurant. Curious, Rana asked Ryudo if it was indeed a photo of them, and Ryudo confirmed it. He then asked Rana if she had no plans for the coming week because he intended to celebrate her birthday. He explained that Nicole had informed him of Rana's birth. Rana understood and walked ahead toward the train, as they still wanted to keep their relationship a secret. As Rana left, Ryudo couldn't help but think that she might be jealous, remembering her expression when she showed him the photo. He was determined to make Rana happy and plan a perfect celebration for her upcoming birthday. The much-anticipated day arrived, and they both found themselves in Harajuku following Nicole's guidance, as Rana was fond of the place. They had come here, and the information was correct. Rana appeared to be incredibly happy. Ryudo treated Rana to a boba drink, as Nicole had suggested, bringing immense joy to Rana. While asking Rana about her boba drink, Ryudo was seen scribbling on a self-made map he had created after multiple visits to different boba shops and cafes. Eventually, this particular cafe was the one he highly recommended. At length, Ryudo explained to Rana about the boba drink they were having and recommended other places with different characteristics and flavors of boba drinks. Rana could only listen silently as Ryudo spoke, observing Rana's bewildered silence. Ryudo suddenly realized he had been rambling about something unusual. Rana then complimented Ryudo on his knowledge, thinking that he must also enjoy boba drinks. Ryudo explained that after learning about Rana's fondness for boba drinks, he had studied everything about them, all for their date on her birthday. He also wanted to share at least one thing in common with his girlfriend. Hearing this, Rana was delighted, as no one had ever done this for her before. With excitement, Rana extended an invitation to Ryudo to explore all the boba drinks listed on the map he had brought along. They proceeded to visit boba shops one by one, sampling each variety. Eventually, at a particular boba shop, Ryudo purchased a single boba drink for Rana. Feeling quite full, Rana tasted the boba and found it delicious. She nervously offered Ryudo a sip, which he accepted. His face turned bright red when Rana jokingly mentioned it was an indirect kiss, making him feel extremely happy. Ryudo intended to share something about Maria with Rana, but before he could speak, Rana had something to say. Just as they were about to share their thoughts, a man behind them suddenly presented a gift to his girlfriend. Ryudo remembered he wanted to buy a birthday gift for Rana. However, upon opening his wallet, he found only 1,000 yen left. Without hesitation, Rana took the map from Ryudo, expressing her desire to keep it as a unique and cool memento, as it was the first time someone had done such a thoughtful gesture for her. Rana promised to cherish the map and requested Ryudo to take her boba drinking on another date. Ryudo gladly agreed and committed to updating the map for any new shops that might emerge. As they left, Rana declared it to be the best day of her 17-year-old life. Finally, they held hands and walked home together. The next day, while at school, Ryudo heard many untrue rumors about Rana. People said Rana was manipulative, changed partners often, and never spent money while dating. During lunch on the rooftop with Aikai and Nishi, they were deep in conversation when a stern-looking woman, Nicole, approached. Seeing her, Aikai and Nishi quickly escaped, leaving Ryudo alone. Nicole talked about the rumors she had heard about Ryudo dating Rana. She mentioned that Ryudo seemed different from Rana's previous boyfriends. Nicole discussed the circulating rumors about Rana, expressing curiosity and anger about who spread them. The next morning, Ryudo went to school, and upon arriving in the classroom, Maria, sitting beside his desk, greeted him. During the lesson, Ryudo and Maria had to move their desks closer together because Maria forgot her book. Apologizing for rejecting him before, Maria admitted she didn't understand relationships back then. Now, she felt that she might understand how special Ryudo was. Flattered but puzzled, Ryudo didn't want a repeat of past incidents. After the lesson, Ryudo walked down the hallway, contemplating recent events. He didn't want others to know about his relationship with Rana, fearing they'd make fun of her. While pondering, he accidentally saw a guy inviting Rana into a classroom. Peeking through the door, Ryudo witnessed the guy trying to confess, but Rana firmly rejected him, stating she already had a boyfriend. When the guy asked if Rana's boyfriend attended the same school, Rana said it was a secret. The guy assumed she was embarrassed and protested, but Rana explained she respected her boyfriend's feelings. She added that even if the whole world knew about their relationship, she wouldn't be ashamed. Hearing this, Ryudo felt honored, unable to believe Rana had spoken so highly of him. In the last hours of school, Ryudo was wrapping up his work. Maria, seated beside him, brought up the rumors circulating about Rana. She shared details from a former boyfriend of Rana's, who believed that Rana had used him during their relationship. According to him, Rana was playing games for her benefit and wouldn't even pay for her meals. Ryudo, feeling emotional, recalled moments when Rana insisted on paying for her own meal and when she asked for his handmade map as a birthday gift. Curious, Ryudo asked Maria if she had shared this with others. Hesitatingly, Maria couldn't remember but secretly thought everyone should already know. She mentioned that Rana, being popular, would find a new boyfriend after using up her current one's money. Angry and feeling the rumors were baseless, Ryudo asked Maria not to speak ill of Rana. Maria was surprised by Ryudo's reaction. He added that Rana's ex-boyfriend must be lying, emphasizing that Rana was caring and always considerate. Ryudo, pressed for more details, stood up and declared himself as Rana's boyfriend, shocking Maria, Nicole, and everyone in the classroom. Ryudo's friends, taken aback by Ryudo's revelation that he is Rana's boyfriend, found it hard to believe. Rana, however, with her innocent demeanor, affirmed the truth of the situation. Witnessing Rana's openness to dating someone like Ryudo, their friends began to accept her as a kind-hearted woman, dispelling the negative rumors about her. Maria, on the other hand, seemed upset and left the classroom with a grumpy expression. Ryudo followed her, and on a quiet staircase, he inquired whether Maria was the one spreading rumors about Rana. Maria admitted to it, explaining that she wanted to be the top and not let Rana surpass her again. Surprisingly, Maria revealed that she and Rana are twin sisters, although not identical, as their parents had divorced when they were in 5th grade, leading Maria to take their mother's last name. Ryudo, taken aback, now truly believed Maria was Rana's twin. Maria expressed her deep-seated resentment, revealing that since childhood, she wished she wasn't Rana's twin. Feeling overshadowed by Rana's attention-seeking nature, Maria changed her name, transferred schools, and molded herself to be loved, but Rana remained the favorite. Ryudo acknowledged that spreading rumors about Rana was wrong but understood Maria's feelings. Drawing parallels, Ryudo realized he shared similarities with Maria, struggling to express his emotions and often feeling disliked by others. When he saw Rana, he perceived her as different, sincere, natural, and dazzling. Convinced that Maria could find someone who genuinely loved her, Ryudo believed in the possibility of her happiness. Flattered, Maria asked Ryudo to leave her alone, and he respected her wish, leaving the place. While strolling down the corridor, Ryudo encountered Rana, and suddenly, Nicole appeared. Ryudo felt scared, but it turned out that Nicole patted him on the head and praised him for bravely admitting to being Rana's boyfriend in front of many people. Rana and Ryudo went home from school together. On the way, Rana asked Ryudo why he acknowledged their relationship in front of their classmates. Ryudo answered that he didn't want people to keep misunderstanding Rana. Rana was touched. It turned out Ryudo did it all for her. Rana already knew about the rumors, but she didn't care. She also knew that Ryudo was aware of Rana and Maria's relationship. In fact, Rana wanted to tell Ryudo about it, but she hadn't found the right time yet. Rana shared that her relationship with Maria is quite complicated and a bit awkward, but she assured that Maria is a kind-hearted woman. Rana then asked if Ryudo knew about her before they started dating. Ryudo said he didn't know about Rana before they started dating but likes the Rana he knows now. He also mentioned that he realized, by seeing the current Rana, that the past Rana wouldn't have done such things. Rana was happy and grateful to Ryudo. On the other hand, Maria was still alone on the stairs, contemplating Ryudo. She was determined not to fall in love with Ryudo because if that happened, she wouldn't be the number one. The next day, Ryudo experienced nervousness while getting ready for school. He thought about how his friends might tease him after revealing that he's dating Rana. However, upon reaching school, everything appeared normal. Ryudo considered that news of people dating might just be a passing topic, with many other interesting things for trendy people. After school, Rana and Ryudo stopped at a cafe. Rana expressed her interest in liking the things Ryudo likes and inquired about his activities on days off. Ryudo hesitated to share, hinting at doing something secretive. Rana assumed he might be involved in peculiar or even naughty activities. Ryudo promptly denied this and revealed that he spends most of his free time watching live streams of people playing games. Curious, Rana asked about it, and Ryudo began talking enthusiastically about his idol, Ken, a professional gamer he greatly admires. In his excitement, Ryudo kept elaborating, unknowingly leaving Rana bewildered. Eventually realizing his blunder upon noticing Rana's confusion, Ryudo felt embarrassed. However, Rana surprised him by expressing her desire to watch a live stream together. They watched Ken's live stream on Ryudo's phone, and as they enjoyed it together, Ryudo noticed Rana gradually getting closer. This sight made Ryudo's heart beat rapidly, and as he gazed at Rana's glossy lips, he couldn't resist the urge to kiss them. The next day, Ryudo had a conversation with Nishi and Aikai. During the chat, he admitted that he wanted to kiss Rana but didn't know how to approach it naturally. They both became upset, questioning why Ryudo would ask such a thing from guys like them. Jealousy also crept in as they wondered why Ryudo had a girlfriend while they didn't. Despite their feelings, they decided to share tips for the sake of their friendship, though they couldn't offer any guidance due to lack of experience. Realizing that kissing might be too much, Ryudo opted to start by holding hands. The following day, Ryudo invited Rana for a date at the park. Excited about the idea, Rana happily agreed. Unbeknownst to her, Ryudo had planned the outing with Aikai and Nishi. Their scheme involved a boat ride to create a scenario for Ryudo to hold Rana's hand. On the day of the date, as they were about to board the boat, Rana stumbled, and Ryudo reached out to save her, holding her hand. This was part of Ryudo's imagined plan, but unexpectedly, the teacher pointed at him to answer a question. Ryudo, surprised and confused, hadn't been paying attention. Luckily, Maria, sitting next to him, informed him about the situation, and he thanked her. Later, Maria asked Ryudo not to hate her, leaving him puzzled. Trying to reassure her, Ryudo stated that he didn't hate her, making Maria happy and a bit embarrassed. As the weekend arrived, Ryudo and Rana met at the park as planned. Somewhat hesitantly, Rana informed Ryudo that she had packed some food and wished for him to enjoy it. They discovered a shaded spot, and Ryudo relished the meal crafted by Rana. Rana felt immense joy when Ryudo complimented her cooking skills. While savoring their meal, a sudden message arrived on Ryudo's phone from Nicole. She playfully warned Ryudo that if he didn't finish the food prepared by Runa, she would playfully threaten him. After eating, they both made their way to the lake for a swan boat ride. Upon reaching the lake's edge, Runa took the initiative to board the boat first. Unexpectedly, as Ryudo had previously envisioned, Runa's foot stumbled, giving the impression that she might fall. Swiftly, Ryudo attempted to catch Runa's hand to rescue her, but Runa quickly regained her balance and safely entered the boat. Despite his disappointment at the missed opportunity, Ryudo accepted the turn of events. Finally, on the swan boat together, Ryudo considered the possibility of another chance when Runa disembarked from the boat. However, unexpectedly, Runa smoothly got off the boat without needing Ryudo's assistance. Eventually, they both decided to head back. During the journey, Ryudo appeared distant, while Runa radiated happiness at being on the boat with him. Deep down, Ryudo desired to hold her hand, but he hesitated to express his feelings directly to Runa. He feared that if he did, Runa might respond out of obligation, disregarding her true emotions. Ryudo worried this would make him similar to Runa's past boyfriends. Observing Ryudo's peculiar behavior, Runa promptly questioned him about any unspoken thoughts. She mentioned her sensitivity to the atmosphere, given her past experiences with boyfriends who behaved similarly. This left Ryudo feeling perplexed. Runa clarified that she didn't want to break up, as she initially misunderstood Ryudo's intentions. Ryudo denied any intention of breaking up and expressed a desire to ride the boat again. Secretly, he hoped for another opportunity to hold Runa's hand. With a plan in mind, Ryudo took the initiative to board the rowboat first and extended his hand to help Runa. This time, Ryudo's plan succeeded, and they held hands, causing his heart to blossom with joy. While on the boat, it was mentioned by Runa that she felt thankful for choosing the rowboat. According to her, it allowed her to hold Ryudo's hand. Runa explained that she had been thinking about holding hands with Ryudo lately. Upon hearing this, Ryudo also expressed his desire to hold hands with her. Surprisingly, it turned out that they both shared the same thought. After getting up from her seat, Runa approached Ryudo and kissed his lips. The atmosphere became romantic for a moment, and Ryudo couldn't find words to say. As they sat back down, Runa mentioned that she wanted to get closer to Ryudo and expressed her wish to love him sincerely. Unknowingly, evening had arrived, and as they disembarked, Ryudo extended his hand to help Runa off the boat. Runa didn't want to let go of his hand and mentioned that she wanted to keep holding it a little longer. Ryudo couldn't refuse, and they both walked back while holding hands. During the journey, Runa asked Ryudo to call her by her first name, Runa, instead of her last name, Shirakawa, as he usually did. Ryudo felt tense because he had never called a girl by her first name. He attempted to say Runa's first name but stuttered and couldn't continue. Understanding the situation, Runa said she would wait until Ryudo got used to it. Runa also felt a bit shy when holding hands with Ryudo. Now, she realized that when Ryudo was close to her, she loved him even more. Ryudo was also very happy to have Runa by his side, and in his heart, he promised not to let go of her hand. Meanwhile, Maria was observed as she worked on her school assignment late at night. While contemplating Ryudo, she found herself puzzled about her emotions. Aware that Ryudo had a romantic interest in Runa, Maria believed that the solution was to transform herself into someone like Runa and then win Ryudo's affection away from her. In a cozy cafe, Runa and Ryudo sat side by side, tackling their study materials. Runa wore a puzzled expression as she encountered a challenging English language problem. Not hesitating, she turned to Ryudo for help. When Ryudo asked if she knew the meaning of the phrase "tell a lie," Runa, with uncertainty, responded that it meant telling Ray. Ryudo, sensing Runa's struggle, discreetly muttered that Runa faced some challenges in English. Taking it upon himself to clarify, Ryudo explained that "tell a lie" means to lie. Connecting it with the previous sentence, it conveyed that he is the last man to lie, indicating his sincerity. Runa, grasping the concept, confidently stated that if everyone in the world were cheating, Ryudo would be the last to do so. Ryudo, feeling a bit embarrassed, swiftly moved on to the next question. As their joint study session concluded, they both headed home. On their way, Runa reminded Ryudo that the next day marked their 1-month anniversary since they began dating. In a celebratory mood, Runa invited Ryudo to the beach. Ryudo, envisioning a romantic setting, pictured Runa in a bikini and readily agreed to the plan. Runa beamed with happiness, anticipating the upcoming beach celebration. The following day in the classroom, Runa revealed her test score, achieving a 42 and feeling pleased. She expressed gratitude to Ryudo for assisting her in study. Curious about Ryudo's score, Runa discovered he scored an impressive 87, leaving her very impressed, and she affectionately called him a god. Meanwhile, in a quiet corner of the classroom, Maria observed their interaction, feeling jealous during break time. On the rooftop, as usual, Aikai, Nishi, and Ryudo gathered to have lunch. Aikai and Nishi were proud of their improved scores, looking forward to enjoying the summer vacation. Later, when Ryudo went to the restroom, he found Maria waiting for him. She requested his help in learning English, acknowledging his proficiency in the subject. Ryudo hesitated, citing his commitment to teach English to Runa. Maria then suggested possibly during the summer vacation, but Ryudo declined. Maria, admitting her struggle with math, asked for homework help. Ryudo, feeling reluctant, suggested asking Ikai since he excelled in math. Maria declined the offer and requested Ryudo's phone number for future contact. Though reluctant, Ryudo agreed but made it clear that he wouldn't be the one initiating contact. The following day, Ryudo found himself at the station when Maria messaged him, inquiring about his availability on the 23rd for study help. Ryudo, replying, mentioned his summer classes on that day. Before he could respond further, Runa greeted him, and together they headed to the beach. Arriving at the beach, Runa, already in her swimsuit, excitedly waited for Runa in front of the changing room. Ryudo, observing Runa in her swimsuit, felt happy and grateful to have such a beautiful and stylish girlfriend. His face turned red at the sight. Playfully, Runa teased Ryudo about his reaction. Once at the beach, Runa suggested Ryudo apply sunscreen to her back since she couldn't reach it. Surprised but happy, Ryudo hesitated before agreeing. While applying sunscreen, Ryudo, trying to divert his attention, did some mental math calculations. Runa, finding it ticklish, laughed throughout the process. After finishing, Runa thanked Ryudo, and he expressed gratitude for the opportunity. Encouraged by Runa, Ryudo plunged into the sea, playing with a ball and swimming together. Enjoying the sunny weather, they discussed an approaching storm during their rest on the beach. During this time, Ryudo complimented Runa's swimsuit, expressing that it suited her well. Flattered, Runa thanked him and shared that choosing it was a bit frustrating, having tried around 30 swimsuits. Ryudo accompanied her in choosing one. Runa had expressed her desire to go to the beach with Ryudo, prompting Nicole to willingly come to Runa's house and design her nails to match the swimsuit. Ryudo appreciated how beautiful Runa's nails looked. In the evening, as predicted, the storm arrived, leading to the halt of train operations. Ryudo and Runa found themselves unable to go home, prompting them to call their parents. Faced with no other option, they decided to stay in a hotel despite the considerable rental costs. Choosing a single room, Ryudo, upon entering, suggested to Runa that she take a shower first to avoid catching a cold from her wet clothes. While Runa was in the bathroom, Ryudo, in a separate room, held his head, trying to calm himself down. The unexpected situation of having to share a room left Ryudo feeling confused. To distract himself, he began exercising. When Runa emerged from the bathroom, she was surprised to learn about Ryudo's interest in exercise and asked if she could touch his stomach. Reflexively, Ryudo refused, apologized, and didn't want Runa to touch his stomach. Later, Runa allowed Ryudo to take a bath. During his bath, Ryudo seemed to regret his earlier refusal, as if he didn't want to be touched. It was as if he didn't want to engage in Kiponki with Runa. After showering, Ryudo made his way to the main room, where Runa was watching the news. The news mentioned that it would be sunny tomorrow morning, which made both of them happy. Runa handed Ryudo a cup of tea, and he thanked her. As they exchanged glances, there was a slight awkwardness in the air. Runa felt a bit shy as she wasn't wearing makeup at that moment. In his heart, Ryudo observed a resemblance between Runa and Maria. This triggered his memory of a message from Maria that he hadn't responded to since earlier in the morning. Runa, noticing Ryudo staring at her, asked him to stop, expressing her lack of confidence without makeup. Ryudo reassured her, saying she looked no different, although, in truth, Runa appeared younger and more adorable without makeup. Runa felt a mix of happiness and embarrassment at his words. As the night progressed, they decided to go to sleep. Outside, the storm continued to rage. Ryudo found it hard to sleep with Runa beside him. Sensing his restlessness, Runa inquired about his well-being. Despite Ryudo insisting he was fine, Runa asked if he wanted to play in Kiponki with her. Turning the question back to Runa, Ryudo wondered if she was comfortable with it, knowing she wasn't entirely ready. Runa admitted this, feeling guilty for holding Ryudo back. It was revealed by Runa that being with Ryudo had made her feel the desire to kiss someone for the first time. She recognized her increasing affection for Ryudo and conveyed her intention to love him more and be closer to him. Runa expressed anticipation for exploring new experiences with him. Despite Runa's anticipation, Ryudo decided they should just sleep for now and reserved in Kiponki for a time when Runa genuinely desired it. When asked why he was so considerate, Ryudo simply replied that it was because he loved Runa. Touched by his words, Runa asked for permission to be selfish and requested a hug. Ryudo, surprised but willing, embraced her affectionately. Runa expressed her desire to recreate this moment on their 2-month anniversary, and Ryudo agreed. They eventually drifted off to sleep, still holding hands. Meanwhile, in her room, Maria was staring at the message from Ryudo on her phone. Feelings of jealousy overwhelmed her as she thought about Runa, who was able to date Ryudo. Maria wondered why it couldn't be her and pondered on how she could be more like Runa. The scene then shifted to the next morning when Ryudo walked Runa back to her home. Rana expressed her wish for them to remain together. As Rudo continued his journey home, he felt extremely sleepy due to a sleepless night. While walking, he was greeted by someone, and it turned out to be Nicole, who was working part-time at a restaurant. Nicole casually put her arm around Rudo and invited him inside the restaurant. As Rudo enjoyed his meal, Nicole inquired about his date with Rana. Rudo mentioned that they were getting closer, and Nicole observed that Rana seemed possessive, sending messages every night. Rudo agreed but shared that he liked knowing Rana was thinking about him. Nicole went on to talk about Rana's past relationships, noting that her ex-boyfriends had all been unreliable. She explained that Rana had a 2-month curse, where relationships either faced infidelity or turned cold after 2 months. Despite trusting Rudo, Nicole suggested that Rana might still be worried. She then asked Rudo to promise not to make Rana worry. Rudo firmly agreed and assured Nicole that he wouldn't repeat the mistakes of Rana's ex-boyfriends. After a while, Rudo found himself continuing his journey towards home. During the journey, he got a call on his phone, and it turned out to be from Maria's number. When Rudo answered, he heard Rana's voice explaining that she was at her mother's house and had met Maria after a long time. Rana mentioned her phone's battery was dead, so she borrowed Maria's phone. She expressed her desire to chat and invited Rudo for a talk at the school. Initially, Rudo refused because he was tired and sleepy, but Rana kept insisting. Eventually, Rudo agreed. By the time he arrived at the school, it was already evening. In her message, Rana invited him to meet at the gymnasium storage room. When Rudo arrived, Rana was already waiting inside the dark room and asked him to come closer. Rana immediately mentioned wanting to do Inkiponki with Rudo, surprising him as he remembered what Rana had said at the hotel. Rudo wondered if Rana's feelings could change so quickly in just a day, and he questioned whether they would engage in such activities in a place like that. The scene then shifted to Rana's room, where she was on the phone with Nicole, telling her that Rudo is her last man. In the sports warehouse, Rana expressed her desire to do Inkiponki with Rudo. Rudo simply asked if she was sure, and Rana affirmed. She then walked towards Rudo and hugged him. Though Rudo wanted to hug back, he remembered Rana's previous embrace, where she mentioned feeling warm and calm. Rudo released the hug, stepping back. When Rana asked why, Rudo replied that she didn't seem like Rana. Gazing at her, Rudo guessed she was Maria, not Rana. Rudo questioned Maria about her actions, recalling Rana's phone call claiming her battery died and borrowing Maria's phone. He started suspecting if the one on the phone was also Maria. Maria admitted to the deception, acknowledging their different appearances but similar voices, especially over the phone. Rudo wanted to understand the motive behind the deception. Maria insisted she wanted to experience Inkiponki with Rudo and suggested pretending to be Rana. She promised not to tell anyone, not even Rana. Maria pleaded with Rudo, emphasizing it was a one-time request and that he didn't need to be her boyfriend. Rudo declined, expressing his commitment to Rana's happiness and not wanting to betray her. He understood it must be painful for Maria. However, before Maria could respond, a school guard patrolled the area. They fled through a window, successfully escaping the school. Outside, Rudo and Maria sat on a park bench. In a moment of silence, Maria removed her wig, and the atmosphere briefly fell silent. Rudo attempted to inquire and confirm something, whether Maria had orchestrated a plan for revenge against Rana. Maria, however, denied any such intentions. Rudo, having misunderstood Maria initially, later acknowledged that Maria was, in fact, in love with him. This revelation left Rudo quite surprised. Maria went on to explain that her feelings for Rudo had developed when he scolded her for spreading rumors about Rana. This incident marked the first time she had encountered a man like Rudo, someone who confronted her directly. In the present moment, Rudo rejected Maria, not only for Rana's sake but also for Maria's well-being. Maria found it challenging since she couldn't be the number one person in Rudo's life. Feeling suffocated and confused, this was the first time Maria had ever experienced such deep emotions for someone. Despite her rejection, Maria realized that Rudo might be feeling the same way. Hence, she apologized to Rudo, shedding tears as she leaned on him. For the time being, he allowed her to stay in that vulnerable state for a while. The next morning, school found Rudo already present. While checking Maria's shoe rack, memories of the previous night surfaced. Maria had left without saying anything, leaving Rudo concerned about her well-being. Remembering his promise to Nicole about not causing Rana any worry, Rudo decided to stop dwelling on Maria. Regarding Rudo confessing his love to Maria in junior high school, he planned to reveal the truth to Rana. As he navigated the school environment, he overheard people discussing a rumor about him, which he was unaware of. Inside the classroom, Aikai and Nishi approached him. Aikai inquired, "What have you done?" Nishi added that Rudo was now the talk of the town. Aikai insisted, "Are you cheating with Maria now?" Nishi showed a photo on his phone depicting Ryudo and Maria sitting together on a park bench. Nishi mentioned that someone had spread the photo the night before. Ryudo was shocked to see the picture. At that moment, Maria entered the class with a downcast face, silently taking her seat without greeting anyone. After the lesson ended, Maria and Ryudo found themselves alone in an empty classroom. Maria explained to Ryudo that she wasn't the one who spread the photo and the rumors. She mentioned that in the embarrassing situation from the day before, it was impossible for her to immediately spread gossip about it. Maria expressed that she wouldn't do something so hurtful, emphasizing that she still valued her dignity. Ryudo then apologized to Maria, who also apologized to him, promising to refute the rumors. Maria pledged not to contact Ryudo again and requested him to block her number. As the school bell rang, Ryudo left the room. However, just as he opened the door, Maria revealed that if she had accepted Ryudo's confession in junior high, she might be the one by his side now. Unbeknownst to them, Runa stood in front of the door, overhearing their conversation. Shocked, she dropped her phone upon learning that Maria was the girl Ryudo confessed to in junior high. Runa sought clarification from Ryudo, asking if what she heard was true. Ryudo could only respond with an apology. Confused, Runa questioned why Ryudo was apologizing and if he had done something that required an apology to her. Without saying a word, Maria left them. Ryudo seemed eager to explain, but Runa no longer wanted to hear it. She ran away from Ryudo, unable to believe what had just happened. Ryudo could only remain silent. He took the initiative to retrieve Runa's fallen phone, but Nicole picked it up first. Nicole slapped Ryudo on the face and ran away, leaving him behind. After that, the students were gathered in the auditorium, listening to announcements about the upcoming summer vacation. Ryudo was there too, but he didn't see Runa. He was still thinking about the recent events, regretting making Runa cry. He waited in the classroom, but Runa didn't show up. Later on, Ryudo was seen attending extra lessons during his summer break. He tried to apologize every day, sending messages to Runa's phone for 2 weeks, but she never read them. Ryudo also attempted to visit Runa's house, but he didn't dare to take further steps. The beach scene transitioned, and Nishi and Aikai found themselves at the seaside, unsure of what to do. They enjoyed their time, and Aikai got a notification on his phone about his favorite gamer, Ken, uploading a new video. They decided to watch it together on the beach. During the video, Nishi questioned the choice of coming to the beach. Feeling hungry, Aikai decided to buy yakisoba. At the food stall, they noticed many young couples, which made them feel jealous. Planning to find another place, they quickly sent a photo of Runa holding hands with a guy to Ryudo before leaving. Upon seeing the photo, Ryudo hurried out of the classroom and rushed to the station to catch a train. On the way, he kept thinking about the kindness Runa had shown him. Eventually, Ryudo arrived at the location specified by Nishi and Ikai, a beach named Luna Marine. Standing in front of the place, Ryudo saw Runa and Nicole taking a selfie. Runa invited a man named Mao to join their photo, who looked exactly like the guy in the photo Nishi sent earlier. Before they could take the picture together, Mao noticed Ryudo standing there. Welcoming him in, Runa and Nicole were shocked to see Ryudo. Ryudo immediately expressed his desire to talk to Runa. And Mao, observing the situation, predicted that Ryudo might be the boyfriend Runa had mentioned before. Ryudo was approached by Mao, who handed him a business card. Mao's full name was Kuros Mao, and he turned out to be Runa's uncle. The revelation surprised Ryudo. Eventually, the three of them sat together. With a serious tone, Nicole asked Ryudo why he came there and even threatened to hit him if his answer was disappointing. Mao intervened by bringing drinks and trying to lighten the mood, appreciating Ryudo for making the journey. Mao also reminded Nicole about her part-time job, expressing concern about running out of time. It was only then that Nicole remembered her job. Runa allowed Nicole to leave first, and although Nicole was still worried about Runa, she reassured him that she would be fine. Mao jokingly mentioned that he would finish Ryudo if he made Runa cry. Nicole left, asking Runa to call him later that night. Mao left, leaving Runa and Ryudo alone. They stayed silent for a while, and then Ryudo, exchanging glances, explained that Maria was the girl who turned him down back in his first year of junior high. He apologized for not sharing this earlier with Runa. Ryudo disclosed that on the night after returning from the beach with Runa, Maria confessed her love to him. Runa was shocked to hear this, and Ryudo continued, revealing that he rejected Maria because he already had feelings for Runa. He mentioned that Maria cried, and they sat together on a park bench, apologizing to Runa for hurting her. Ryudo admitted that someone might have taken a photo at that time and spread it around. Runa accepted Ryudo's apology, expressing her own regrets for jumping to conclusions. Runa shared that she knew when Maria started falling for Ryudo, describing Maria as having a gentle and innocent heart. Ryudo acknowledged that Runa understood his kindness towards Maria, just like he treated Runa. Runa, feeling happy as Maria's older sister, forgave Ryudo. Ryudo asked Runa why he couldn't reach her, and she explained her broken phone situation. Runa went to the neighboring city to fix it, and now it was being repaired. Rudo was relieved that Rana wasn't angry, and she confessed to feeling incredibly happy since they started dating. Rana revealed her fear of being betrayed but expressed her desire to stay with Rudo. She was fixing her phone for that reason, but Rudo came to her before it was fixed. Curious about how Rudo knew she was there, the scene shifted to a train where Nishi and Ikai lamented their fate. Later that evening, Rudo nervously introduced himself to Rana's grandmother at her beachside house. Grandma Seo welcomed him, and Mao suggested Rudo take a shower. Rana felt at ease meeting her grandmother. Inside, Rana invited Rudo to stay for the summer, and he happily agreed. They planned to work together at Linen Marine, go to the beach during free time, and attend a festival. Rana wanted the summer to be the best for both of them, and Rudo couldn't refuse her request. While he was sleeping, Rudo found himself dreaming on the beach, listening to Rana's voice. When he eventually woke up, he discovered Rana right on top of him. It dawned on Rudo that it wasn't just a dream. This summer, he would be sharing a house with Rana. Throughout the day, Rana and Rudo worked part-time at her uncle's seaside place. Rana took orders from customers, and Rudo worked at the locker rental. Both of them appeared content with their respective tasks. On that peaceful day, two troublemakers suddenly appeared and teased Rana. Rudo, taking a break from working on math problems, observed the situation from a distance. The troublemakers persistently asked Rana irrelevant questions, putting her in an uncomfortable position. Unfortunately, at that moment, Rana's uncle Mao went out for shopping. From afar, Rudo felt fear seeing the two troublemakers. They continued questioning Rana and asked her to choose between them. Sensing the tension, Rudo approached, pretending to inquire about locker rentals or food. The troublemakers, realizing they weren't customers, decided to leave. Before departing, one of them asked Rana to choose between them and the part-timers. Without hesitation, Rana chose Rudo, claiming he was her boyfriend. Disappointed, the troublemakers left. After their departure, Rana told Rudo that she disliked conversing with guys like them. Rudo apologized, realizing he should have intervened sooner. Rana reassured him and expressed gratitude for his help. She admired Rudo, noting that even at the beach, he continued to learn. She believed he would get into a prestigious university. Rana then shared that, after graduation, Nicole wanted to enroll in a nail art school. Working multiple part-time jobs to save for school, Nicole aspired to enter the fashion field. Rudo inquired about Rana's plans after graduation. She revealed she hadn't decided yet and that, achieving her high school goal, her primary focus was on Rudo, having similar feelings to the person beside her. Rudo was surprised and pleased to hear this. Rana mentioned her dream of living together with her father, mother, and Maria, just like in the past. However, if that proved difficult, she wanted to create her own family. She envisioned being a mother with many children, always loving her husband and being affectionate in front of their kids. Rudo thought Rana was thinking more about the future than he was. When they reached Rana's grandmother's house, a shout came from the kitchen. Rana exclaimed that there were no potatoes. Her grandmother explained that the potatoes had been used to make croquettes. It turned out that now Rana wanted to make a stew with meat and potatoes. This intention was shared with her grandmother, and Rudo happened to be in front of the kitchen when Rana mentioned it. Rana was surprised to see him because her plan was to surprise Rudo. Eventually, they went out together to shop and got potatoes and other ingredients for cooking. Upon returning from shopping, Rudo carried all the items they bought with both hands. Rana offered to help, but Rudo refused, stating the items were not too heavy. Rana then pointed out that if Rudo carried them with both hands, they couldn't hold hands. Taking the items in Rudo's right hand, they walked while holding hands. Upon arriving home, the two of them prepared the ingredients together. While washing the potatoes they had bought earlier, Rana remarked that they were now like a married couple shopping and cooking together. Rudo was surprised again and blushed upon hearing Rana's statement. Finally, their meal was ready, and Rana told Rudo to taste the dish, which turned out to be delicious. Rana shared once more that being in a relationship could be this beautiful, and Rudo agrees. Elsewhere, Maria found her way back home and received a warm welcome from her mother. While her mother was busy preparing food, she shared that Maria's grandmother had just called. The grandmother inquired about their visit, as they usually spent time at her house during the summer festival. Maria confirmed their tradition. Continuing the conversation, Maria's mother mentioned that this year, Rana would also join. Rana was bringing along her boyfriend, which surprised Maria. To avoid the situation, Maria quickly made up an excuse, claiming she had a prior commitment with a school friend and couldn't make it to her grandmother's house. In her room at Rana's grandmother's house, Rana's grandmother expressed eagerness for Maria and her mother's visit, despite the disappointment. Rana and Rudo sensed that Maria might be intentionally avoiding them, remembering that Maria couldn't make it last year. Rana reflected on their distant friendship, noting that it had been almost 2 years since they last met. Runa acknowledged that Maria had changed, almost unrecognizable since transferring to their class. Runa speculated that Maria might not have wanted to transfer to their school, especially into the same class. Despite their differences, Runa cared deeply for Maria. She expressed a desire to be close to her and requested Ryudo's help in befriending Maria. Runa wanted to approach Maria as a friend, not as a sister, understanding that Maria might need time. Ryudo agreed to support Runa's plan. Runa envisioned gradually getting close to Maria, with the hope of sharing moments like before, such as enjoying ice cream together. Runa's determination and enthusiasm were evident as she laid out her plan. Later, Mao arrived home with Runa's repaired phone. Upon checking her phone, Runa discovered numerous unread messages and realized she had missed the current viral trend. Excitedly, she invited Ryudo to create a TikTok video together, performing a trendy dance to upload on social media. The following day, Ryudo was given a salary by Mao. Mao felt very thankful because, with Ryudo's help, he could focus on other tasks, revealing that Mao's original job was as a writer. This marked the first money Ryudo earned through his efforts. Mao, being aware of Runa and Kyudo's 2-month anniversary, suggested using the money to surprise Runa at the upcoming summer festival night. Ryudo walked alone to the festival location that night, where numerous people were setting up their stalls. Amidst several vendor stands, Ryudo was uncertain about what to buy for the surprise. His attention was caught by a particular item, prompting him to decide to purchase it. Returning home, he found Runa already wearing a yukata, which surprised him. Complimenting Runa on her appearance, she mentioned that his reaction wasn't as enthusiastic as when he saw her in a swimsuit. Ryudo immediately denied this, and Runa then informed him that there was a yukata for him as well. After both donned their yukatas, they went to the festival, engaging in activities like playing the fish-catching game and buying food. While Ryudo was waiting in line to purchase candy apples, Runa spotted a jewelry stall and sought his permission to check it out. However, when Runa asked the jewelry seller for a moonstone ring, she discovered that the specific type of ring she desired was already sold out. As Ryudo and Runa strolled together, enjoying candy apples, Ryudo repeatedly inquired about Runa's feet. Puzzled, Runa wondered why he kept asking. Ryudo then apologized, revealing it was his first time walking with a woman in a yukata. Grateful, Runa thanked him and discovered it was Ryudo's initial experience too. Ryudo confessed it had been years since he attended a festival or tried a candy apple. Surprised, Runa learned Ryudo's first taste of bubble tea was with her. Reflecting on her own experiences, Runa remembered her mother buying a candy apple for her father for the first time. As Runa reminisced about her desire to marry her first love, she suddenly stopped, looking sad, and questioned why Ryudo wasn't her first love. Seeing Ryudo always experiencing things for the first time saddened her because those weren't her first. Expressing her desire to erase those memories, Runa longed to share yukata walks, candy apple moments, and other firsts with Ryudo. Despite Ryudo having many firsts with Runa, she couldn't give him her first experience. However, Ryudo assured her she already had, receiving her feelings during their various outings. Deeply moved, Runa was surprised when Ryudo presented a box as a celebration of their 2 months of dating. Inside was a moonstone ring Runa had previously admired. Ryudo explained he chose it because it reminded him of her. Although he believed it couldn't compare to the happiness Runa gave him, she expressed gratitude, considering meeting Ryudo the best gift. As Ryudo placed the ring on Runa's finger, he invited her to share more firsts with him. Despite their initial differences, they agreed to explore new experiences together, bridging the gap between their worlds. Runa eagerly accepted, looking forward to sharing more firsts with Ryudo. At that moment, there was a burst of fireworks in front of them. The fireworks appeared incredibly beautiful from where they were sitting. Runa approached Ryudo, holding his hand. Their love for each other was declared by both of them, accompanied by the breathtaking fireworks. A kiss followed this declaration. It was the first day back at school after the summer break for Runa, Nicole, and Akari, who found themselves together in the classroom discussing where they would sit. During this time, Runa noticed that Maria was sitting by herself, engrossed in a book. When Runa attempted to approach her, Maria quickly got up and left the scene. Ryudo, who saw what happened, interpreted Runa's action as an attempt to make friends with Maria. He thought that they hadn't yet found the perfect moment to befriend Maria. As break time came, Ryudo, Aikai, and Nishi made their way to the school's rooftop to eat their lunch. Aikai shared stories of how he spent his summer vacation watching videos, a sentiment Nishi related to, expressing that he had done the same. They then invited Ryudo, who had a different experience, having spent his vacation having fun with his girlfriend. Suddenly, Ryudo inquired if Aikai and Nishi were free the following Saturday, suggesting that it would be a good opportunity for all of them, including Runa, to try something new together. He proposed playing a survival game, which piqued Aikai and Nishi's interest. The day of the game, Runa, Nicole, and Akari arrived at the airsoft gun venue, dressed in military gear, leaving Aikai, Nishi, and Ryudo in awe of their appearance. The girls were taking selfies in their uniforms, and the boys were lost for words, feeling as though they had stepped into another realm. Noticing Runa's outfit, Ryudo discreetly pointed out that her chest was visible, expressing his concern in a gentle manner. Nicole brushed off Ryudo's concern, advocating for a more open appearance, while Akari, upon noticing Nishi, cheerfully greeted him. Nishi, who had never spoken to a girl before, was at a loss for words, especially when Akari called his name twice. Nicole's approach immediately led Nishi and Aikai to refer to her as the Demon Girl, a nickname born out of her tough and often angry demeanor. During the match, it was revealed that Nicole, Nishi, and Aikai were placed on one team, while Ryudo, Akari, and Runa were on the opposing side. Runa and Ryudo were playfully teasing each other, with Runa jokingly threatening to shoot Ryudo directly in the heart, which made Nishi and Aikai feel jealous. The game had begun, with participants starting to shoot at one another. Yet initially, no shots found their targets. It was eventually Nishi who was struck by a bullet fired by Ryudo, which resulted in Nishi's loss and elimination from the match. This event incited anger and a sense of determination in Aikai, who then focused on Ryudo as his next target. However, Aikai's moment of distraction became his downfall, as he was the one to be shot by Ryudo. As Ryudo and Runa were in the process of seeking cover, Nicole made a surprise appearance behind them. In an act of protection, Ryudo positioned himself as a shield for Runa, leading to his own departure from the game. Nicole's aim proved true once more when she managed to hit Akari, leaving only Runa and Nicole in the game for a final one-on-one showdown. Amidst an exchange of gunfire, dodging, and hiding, and with Nicole running out of bullets, Runa seized the moment and landed a successful shot on Nicole, claiming victory for the team of Runa, Ryudo, and Akari. Following the match, a brief intermission was taken. During this time, Nikori was observed carefully trimming the nails on her index finger, explaining that they interfered with her ability to pull the trigger effectively. After this minor adjustment, Nicole was seen picking up a larger rifle, ready for whatever came next. During the next game, it was observed that Nicole demonstrated a high level of enthusiasm, and her skills appeared to have significantly improved. This allowed her to easily overcome the opposing team. Following the game, as they were changing clothes, Runa came to the realization that she had misplaced her moon and star-shaped earring, which she customarily wore on her left ear. Runa considered this earring to be among her most cherished possessions, a fact that was well known to Nicole, as Runa had expressed her reluctance to wear it to school out of concern it might be taken away. Much to their relief, it was later discovered that the earring had simply fallen into the inner compartment of Runa's bag. Ryudo, who had just become aware of the significant value Runa placed on the earring, showed curiosity about why Runa opted to wear only one earring. On their way home, they decided to visit a cafe, where Akari revealed her growing interest in survival games, attributed to the unique characteristics of each rifle, a fascination she developed after trying out several. This revelation sparked an enthusiastic response from Aikai, who shared a keen interest in rifles and expressed a desire to engage in more shooting activities. Aikai proceeded to enthusiastically share extensive knowledge about the rifles they utilized, leaving the girls in awe of his detailed exposition. Ryudo found himself merely observing Aikai's passionate discourse. In an unexpected turn of events, Akari found herself connecting with Aikai's explanations, although she indicated her reluctance to take up a new hobby. Nicole then pointed out that Akari, in essence, also possessed otaku-like tendencies, a claim Akari confirmed by admitting her admiration for Vanilla Voice, a boy band she was particularly fond of. Akari's extensive talk about the band rendered the guys present unable to comprehend the discussion, leaving them in silence. The conversation then shifted to Nicole, who identified herself as an otaku with a special interest in nails, elaborating on various colors and patterns, a topic that once again left the guys speechless. Runa expressed admiration for their passion, feeling a sense of lacking in comparison. However, Nicole reassured Runa, suggesting she too had a specific passion, hinting at Ryudo, which led to both Runa and Ryudo blushing. Nicole mentioned that being passionate about something could be challenging for singles, a statement that prompted Nishi to inquire quietly whether Nicole was currently single. Nicole admitted her focus had not been on dating due to lingering feelings for an ex-boyfriend, whom she described as cool not because of his looks but due to his unique behavior, such as listening to Buddhist sutras. Nishi's reaction to this revelation was to label it as peak teenage anxiety, a comment that visibly upset Nicole. She clarified that their relationship lasted only 2 weeks, but he remained her first true love. Nishi attempted to make a further comment about Nicole's virginity, but he was abruptly interrupted by Nicole stepping on his foot in anger, causing him pain and leaving him in a state of fear. Akari expressed her desire to date someone tall, which piqued Aikai's interest because he considered himself to be quite tall. revealing his height to be 181 centimeters. Akari responded with an impressed comment, noting how cool that was. This made Aikai extremely happy to receive such a compliment from Akari. After their conversation ended, each of them went home separately. With some free time left, only Runa and Ryudo remained. Runa suggested going on a date, leading them to an amusement park where they decided to ride the Ferris wheel. Runa was overjoyed by this as she had longed to share this experience with Ryudo. While in the confined space of the Ferris wheel, Ryudo harbored a desire to kiss Runa. Runa shared a story about a shoujo manga she read in elementary school, which she thought was too mature for her at the time. In the story, the main characters and their partners ate marble chocolates on a Ferris wheel before kissing. They joked about not having chocolate but considered kissing anyway, leading to them actually kissing. Following the kiss, Ryudo mentioned it felt like the scent of peaches, to which Runa agreed, mentioning her recent purchase of a peach tea aroma lipstick which she adored. Runa's feelings for Ryudo deepened, and she expressed a desire to be praised and have her head patted for her accomplishments earlier in the day, which Ryudo happily did, making her very content. On their way home, Runa reflected on the nearly 3 months since they started dating, cherishing the first experiences they shared and feeling an overwhelming sense of happiness. Ryudo inquired about how they should celebrate their upcoming 3-month anniversary, to which Runa replied that no special celebration was necessary as long as she could be with him. She also confessed that she felt as if she was falling in love for the first time. Ryudo, inspired by Runa's feelings, aspired to become a man worthy of her affection, deciding to focus more on his studies. Extracurricular lessons were attended by Ryudo to enhance his knowledge. However, upon arriving at the lesson venue, he encountered Maria, who was also there for her studies. Wishing to avoid her, Ryudo managed to sneak out of the room. As he reached the door, he was surprised by a pat on his back from a guy who pretended to know him, mistakenly calling him Yamada. Once they were out of the room, Ryudo and the stranger made their way to a cafe. There, the stranger introduced himself as Sekiya, someone who had finished high school but had not started college yet. He expressed a willingness to assist Ryudo, finding his behavior rather odd. During their conversation, Sekiya inquired about the woman Ryudo was trying to steer clear of. Feeling somewhat obligated, Ryudo opened up about Maria, his first love, who had become his girlfriend's sister. He revealed his thoughts on avoiding Maria until the extracurricular lessons concluded, seeing it as his only option. He preferred not to get tangled in any situation with Maria, especially now that they found themselves in the same space for lessons. Understanding the predicament, Sekiya offered his support to Ryudo. He promised to keep Ryudo informed about Maria's presence at the school and showed curiosity about her. For the time being, Sekiya advised Ryudo to concentrate on his studies, suggesting there was no need to hurry into college right after finishing high school. The following day at school, during the preparations for the cultural festival, the class president and the teacher were forming a committee. When volunteers were requested, the class initially remained silent. However, Maria raised her hand, followed by Runa. Ryudo, in his mind, considered this a beginning step towards befriending Maria, despite the complexities of their past and present relationships. Shortly after Akari had willingly stepped forward to become a committee member for the school festival, she cast a hopeful glance in Nicole's direction, wishing for her to join as well. However, Nicole, due to her commitment to several part-time jobs, declined the offer. Akari, without missing a beat, directed everyone's attention to Ryudo, who was caught off guard by the suggestion. Despite his initial reluctance, the encouraging smiles from Nicole and Runa convinced him to join the committee. The teacher then announced the need for another member, and Aikai, who had been on the fence, revealed his interest in joining, partly motivated by a desire to be closer to Akari. Ryudo, seizing the moment, suggested Aikai's name. Aikai, though hesitant, accepted the role of committee member, and the teacher gave his approval. With the committee fully assembled, it was time to distribute tasks. Akari expressed her dissatisfaction when Runa and Ryudo were assigned to work on the pamphlet team, separate from her. She had hoped they would be on her team along with Nikai, mirroring the survival game team they had formed the day before. On the other hand, Ryudo found himself puzzled yet optimistic about working with Runa and Maria on pamphlets, seeing it as an opportunity to forge new friendships. However, their initial meeting was marked by awkwardness, with pamphlets from past events spread out before them as references for the upcoming festival theme for the future. During their discussion, Runa inquired about Maria's current interests, leading to a conversation about her fondness for watching videos. Runa's mention of the new Biko dance sparked confusion in Maria, highlighting the awkwardness between them. Ryudo, attempting to steer the conversation, asked Maria about her favorite live game broadcasts, which led to an enthusiastic exchange about Ken, a popular game streamer they both followed. After the meeting, Ryudo appeared to be very confused about how to bring Runa and Maria closer together. It was then that Sekiya, who was well known among their peers for his popularity in senior high school, approached him. They ended up having a conversation at a ramen shop. where Ryudo opened up about the dilemma he was facing and sought Sekiya's advice. Sekiya, acknowledging his experience with social dynamics, shared that his interactions with girls during high school had led him to delay entering college. Sekiya reminisced about his instant popularity upon entering senior high school, which had made him somewhat conceited. He showed Ryudo a photo from his junior high school days when he had won a regional table tennis championship, looking rather nerdy. Back then, he had concentrated solely on table tennis, and only one girl had complimented him, calling him cool. They dated briefly after he graduated, during which time he changed his hairstyle based on her suggestion, which boosted his popularity. Despite this, Sekiya mentioned he never cheated, although his ex-girlfriend considered him a bad person. The following day, the school festival committee was busy with their meetings. Within the pamphlet team, Rana and Maria shared conflicting views on the pamphlet design. Rana proposed a cheerful design with pink and glitter, while Maria argued for a more mature and future-oriented theme. Ryudo found himself caught in the middle, preferring Maria's design but reluctant to upset Rana. He reported this disagreement to his teacher, expressing concern over the looming printing deadline. Later, as Ryudo was so engrossed in these thoughts, he missed his usual train stop. Upon disembarking, he was surprised to encounter Maria, who had just finished tutoring. Their conversation revealed Maria's complex feelings towards Rana, stemming from her envy of Rana's stable family life compared to her own, marked by her parents' divorce and a change in her family name. Maria confessed her deep-seated resentment and desire to be close to Rana, despite her outward hostility. As they reached their destination, an accidental spill from Ryudo's bag led to a moment of shared awkwardness, but also an opportunity for Maria to discover they attended the same tutoring center. Maria reassured Ryudo that he didn't need to keep his distance from her, indicating a willingness to bridge the gap between them. That night, messages were exchanged between Ryudo and Rana on their phones. Rana shared how she and Maria have always had contrasting preferences, completely opposite, in fact. When Rana had given her earrings, she observed that Maria seemed awkwardly to respond. Deep down, Ryudo felt that Maria genuinely wished to be closer to Rana but struggled to convey her emotion. The following morning saw the students participating in a sports festival. Rana was observed competing in a running race, and as she was about to be surpassed by an opponent, it was believed that Ryudo's encouragement led her to victory. The festival was full of students engaging in various contests. Rana's subsequent challenge was the item borrowing race, a contest that tested not just speed but luck as well. Upon receiving her task on a piece of paper, Rana called out to Ryudo. Initially confused, Ryudo, with a little nudge from Nicole, joined Rana, and together they raced towards the finish line, ultimately securing a win. Ryudo commended Rana for her victories in numerous contests, while Rana expressed her gratitude towards Ryudo for his encouragement, which fueled her determination to win. Rana then revealed the lottery paper she had been given, which instructed her to bring a loved one for the item borrowing race. Meanwhile, the cheerleading team was preparing themselves. Akari noticed Maria in her cheerleader outfit and couldn't help but admire how stunning she looked, highlighting her slim arms and long legs. Overjoyed by Maria's decision to join the cheerleader team, Akari offered her encouragement. As they left the classroom together, Maria shared that her mother would be attending the school sports festival. While they were chatting, Maria suddenly stopped talking and became quiet. This confused Akari until she noticed Maria's attention had been caught by an adult woman conversing with Rana. Maria then mentioned she had forgotten something and, after apologizing, left Akari with a promise to return once the cheerleading contest began. The narrative then shifts to Rana engaging in conversation with the adult woman, who was revealed to be her and Maria's biological mother. Rana shared with her mother the news of her recent competition win, which filled her mother with pride. Upon being asked about Maria, Rana admitted she didn't know her whereabouts, prompting her to go look for Maria, with Ryudo deciding to join her in the search. They split up to cover more ground. From the rooftop, Maria watched the sports festival unfolding below. Ryudo, having made his way to the rooftop, informed Maria of their mother's arrival. Maria disclosed she was aware, having been the one to invite her mother by sending her an announcement sheet. She was conscious that her mother was there to support her, yet she found herself in a dilemma, given that none of their school friends were aware of her and Rana's sibling relationship. Maria was also concerned about revealing to their mother the distance between her and Rana, fearing it might expose a wrongdoing on her part. With a mix of frustration, Maria suggested Ryudo should leave, arguing that this situation was not of his concern. Ryudo, however, expressed his disagreement, indicating his involvement was not just because Maria was Rana's sister but also because she was a classmate. Maria, in a moment of vulnerability, confessed her feelings for Ryudo, asking him not to be kind to her as it only made her feelings grow stronger. Unbeknownst to them, Rana overheard the entire conversation from behind the door, staying silent and shocked by the revelation. Maria emphasized that her feelings were hers to manage, asserting her right to love whom she chose. Ryudo, faced with Maria's confession and the complexity of their situation, remained silent. Meanwhile, Runa, deeply affected by what she had heard, quietly left the rooftop, leaving Maria and Ryudo alone with their unresolved feelings. Later, a discussion was held in a room by Ryudo, Runa, and Maria about the pamphlet they intended to use. They were joined by a teacher and a designer. Based on their suggestions, the designer came up with 2 different designs. One design featured a bright and pink theme, while the other showcased a modern and futuristic theme with monotone colors. Runa was particularly impressed by the pink-themed design, finding it very attractive. Maria, on the other hand, expressed her opinion that the pink design might only appeal to Runa and suggested that the monotone design could attract a wider audience due to its elegance. The teacher acknowledged the appeal of both designs, but emphasized the urgency of making a decision due to time constraints. The designer shared his personal preference for the lively look of the pink pamphlet if he were a senior high school student. However, he considered the monotone design to be more appropriate when taking into account the preferences of boys and the parents of the students. The decision was then passed to Ryudo, who was seen as representing the male student body. Faced with a dilemma, Ryudo found himself torn between his personal preference for the monotone design, which aligned with Maria's view, and not wanting to disappoint Runa. After a moment of hesitation, and influenced by his concern for Runa's feelings, Ryudo initially suggested that the pink design might be more fitting for the theme. However, sensing Ryudo's reluctance, Runa encouraged him to be honest, expressing her disdain for dishonesty. The teacher also urged Ryudo to share his genuine thoughts. Encouraged by this, Ryudo admitted that his actual preference was for the monotone design, aligning with Maria's choice and differing from Runa's preference. As it rained, Ryudo and Runa found themselves walking home together under the shared protection of an umbrella. During this time, Ryudo was preoccupied with thoughts about Runa's apparent distress over an incident involving a pamphlet that had occurred earlier. Despite Ryudo's attempt feelings, insisting she was fine and preferring not to linger on the subject. However, she eventually opened up, sharing her thoughts with Ryudo. Runa admitted that, in her opinion, Maria would be a better fit for Ryudo, given their that any shared activities would be awkward for Ryudo. She was convinced that Ryudo would find greater happiness with Maria. Reflecting on a moment during the sports festival where she saw Maria and Ryudo together on the rooftop, Runa's emotions were a mix of anger and confusion, especially since she had once encouraged Ryudo to befriend Maria. Maria's confession of her feelings for Ryudo only added to Runa's turmoil, making her believe that she and Ryudo were not meant to be. In a sudden rush of emotion, Runa turned and ran away, prompting Ryudo to drop his umbrella and chase after her. However, he found himself at a loss for words and deeply saddened, especially since that day was supposed to be a celebration of their 4-month anniversary. Chosen over Runa's, thought that Ryudo should have opted for Runa's pamphlet instead. Maria's memories were stirred by the sight of a cat doll adorned with a ribbon, a memento from their childhood. The doll sparked a brief dispute between Maria and Runa, ending with Runa reluctantly returning the doll to Maria after a reprimand. Maria's perception of Runa, despite the years, remained unchanged, recognizing her as a caring and kind-hearted person. While Maria wished for Runa's happiness with Ryudo, she couldn't deny her own feelings for him. The teacher, observing the finalized pamphlet cover, praised its design and acknowledged the team's effort, suggesting a break for them. Ryudo planned to share the news of the pamphlet's approval with Runa and Maria, but was interrupted upon noticing Runa engaged in a formal conversation. Attractive, possibly a college student, challenging the initial assumption of him being a sugar daddy. Akari went on to describe Runa as innocent and kind-hearted, expressing concern that the strife between Ryudo and Runa might lead her to change. Although worried by Akari's insights, Ryudo decided to place his trust in Runa, blaming himself for any issues in their relationship. Following their conversation, Ryudo reached out to Sekiya for assistance. The narrative then transitions to the Saren Festival, where the school was buzzing with activity, adorned with food stalls and decorations. As Ryudo and Sekiya navigated through the festivities, Ryudo became concerned about Sekiya's conspicuousness and his habit of talking to himself, which was slightly annoying. Sekiya, realizing Ryudo's irritation, apologized but offered to help investigate the identity of the man seen with Runa. Although Sekiya suggested confronting Runa directly, Ryudo preferred to rely on Sekiya's help, still holding onto his trust in Runa. It was all of a sudden that who encouraged her to enjoy the festival. Ryudo was taken by surprise upon discovering that Nicole was Sekiya's ex. He attempted to confirm this by teasing Sekiya, who felt embarrassed but went on to explain his acquaintance with Runa. It turned out that Sekiya had bumped into Runa on his way to a lesson, and after a brief chat and a declined invitation, Runa gave him her number, which he accepted, considering her a sweet girl. Later, Runa called Sekiya, eager to arrange a meetup, and she spoke of Nicole, despite being aware of Nicole and Sekiya's past. Despite knowing about Nicole and Sekiya's history, Runa wished to surprise them both. Ryudo encouraged Sekiya to meet Nicole, who still had feelings for him. However, Sekiya found himself unable to face Nicole since he had moved on with another girl post-breakup, feeling guilty for the hurt he had caused Nicole. Nicole, who had been the tennis club's manager with black hair and a calm demeanor, changed after the breakup. Sekiya regretted not being there for Nicole during her parents' divorce. Ryudo realized Sekiya's reluctance to meet Nicole and urged him to move past the hurt he had caused, believing that there were still lingering feelings between Sekiya and Nicole. Suddenly, Ryudo arrived, calling out to Runa, and intervened, leading her away from the situation. Left behind, Nicole faced continued harassment until Sekiya intervened, demanding the men to stop. After a moment of confusion, they apologized, and Sekiya led Nicole away, apologizing and bringing tears to her eyes. Witnesses to this scene were Ryudo, Nishi, and Aikai, with Nishi infuriated at seeing Nicole with Sekiya, and Aikai, feeling envious, deciding to confess his feelings to Akari. Both Ryudo and Nishi were stunned by Aikai's revelation. It was Aikai who made the move towards Akari, who was in the company of Runa, to express his feelings towards her. Akari found herself taken aback and struggled to find the right words to respond. After some time, she managed to express her thoughts, feeling that Aikai had made his confession too hastily. She admitted that she didn't know Aikai well enough and questioned the sincerity of his feelings. Akari was of the opinion that Aikai had impulsively declared his love without truly thinking it through. Although it was difficult for her, she chose to reject Aikai to avoid being pressured into reciprocating feelings she didn't share. Following the rejection, Aikai was seen kneeling down, a gesture of his sadness, while Akari and Runa offered him an apology. Runa took the opportunity to explain to Aikai that Akari, despite having received numerous confessions, did not have a boyfriend. She highlighted how seriously Akari took matters of the heart and requested Aikai to see things from Akari's point of view. Meanwhile, Aikai, along with Ryudo and Nishi, found solace against a wall, with Aikai feeling like a failure in matters of love. Nishi shared his own experience of a lost love to Sekiya, aiming to offer some consolation to Aikai. Aikai admired Ryudo for his success in winning Runa's affection, a sentiment Nishi echoed, recalling a memorable incident with Runa under the rain. Ryudo felt compelled to find her and hurried off, leaving Aikai and Nishi behind, who cheered him on. As the Siren Festival's music concert was underway, Sekiya and Nicole were among the attendees, enjoying the performance from afar. It was then that they, along with Maria, who was conversing with her friends, noticed Ryudo making a beeline towards them, his urgency apparent. Ryudo, upon entering a classroom and finding it empty, searched for Runa and eventually found her outside the window. Explained that her curiosity was piqued after spotting a familiar face in a photo with Nicole. This led her to investigate further. Ryudo, relieved by Runa's explanation, shared that he had always had trust in her. The misunderstanding concerning Sekiya, initially spurred by Akari's remarks, was clarified by Runa, who mentioned that the bag she carried was her grandmother's. Despite the mix-up causing some concern for Ryudo, Runa saw it as a fortunate twist that allowed Nicole to encounter Sekiya, expressing her gratitude for the unexpected outcome. Ryudo, reflecting on Runa's conversation with Sekiya that led to Nicole meeting him, paused to contemplate Nicole's words. Runa, pondering life's impermanence, expressed her wish to be with the one she loved, deeming any hesitation a waste. Ryudo, aligning with her sentiments, looked forward to the years ahead, hopeful to spend them with Runa. In a park, seated on the grass, it was Ryudo who initiated an apology to Runa for bringing her to Ikebukuro. However, Runa was not bothered by this at all. In fact, she was delighted to have the opportunity to meet Ryudo. During their conversation, Runa's thoughts wandered to Nicole and Sekiya's relationship, picturing them on a date which had occurred 2 weeks prior, where they visited a giant aquarium. It was mentioned by Runa that Nicole seemed prepared to make a significant decision. Ryudo then shared his perception that Nicole and Sekiya could potentially engage in a serious relationship, to which Runa agreed, providing her insights into Nicole's motivations. Recently, Runa had been feeling quite joyful, largely because she found Nicole's demeanor to be quite endearing. The conversation shifted when Runa inquired about Aikai, leading Ryudo to explain that Aikai had been immersing himself in video games as a way to handle the disappointment of Akari's rejection. Ryudo also shared that Nishi was experiencing a period of low spirits, a revelation that saddened Runa since she missed the opportunity to spend time with them. As they continued their walk, Ryudo expressed a desire to revisit the excitement of playing survival games, reminiscent of their past experiences. However, Runa suggested postponing such plans due to Ryudo's upcoming exams, promising to inform him if she became interested in playing. Their paths diverged when Runa headed towards Perko, marking the end of their shared journey for the day with a farewell. Upon Nicole's arrival in the classroom, both Akari and Runa greeted her with smiles, curious about her recent date. However, their curiosity quickly turned to concern upon noticing Nicole's bruised eyes. As Ryudo and Nishi entered the classroom, The atmosphere grew tense with Nicole's revelation that Sekia had ended their relationship, choosing to focus on his college entrance exams instead. Nicole's distress was evident, exacerbated by Nishi's accidental mention of her tears, which led to a heated confrontation. Ryudo later sought clarity from Sekia on the breakup during a shared lesson, to which Sekia admitted his fear of neglecting his studies due to the intensity of his relationship with Nicole. Despite Ryudo's suggestion to pause the relationship until after exams, Sekia felt it was unfair to Nicole to prolong the inevitable, believing it best to end things to not waste her high school time. The narrative then shifts to Ryudo's reflection on his awkward relationship with Runa, fearing potential harm due to his own missteps. Runa, feeling distanced, struggled with the fear of Ryudo's feelings, contemplating a breakup to avoid further emotional turmoil. Meanwhile, Ryudo and Sekia's conversation over noodles brought to light Ryudo's unconfessed feelings for Maria and his deliberate distance to protect Runa, a decision that Sekia critiqued playfully. Ryudo, however, was content with his friendship with Runa, valuing the positive changes she brought into his life, including the ability to connect with Nicole and Akari. As Nicole and Runa shared an emotional embrace, Ryudo remained indifferent to the absence of other female friendships, his focus solely on not losing Runa. In a twist of fate, as Ryudo ascended the station stairs, he encountered Maria, leading to a conversation and a shared walk. In a final act of closure, Ryudo advised Maria to cease all communication with him, marking a permanent end to their interaction. Maria conveyed that her feelings for Ryudo were not something that would simply vanish, yet her thoughts frequently lingered on Runa, especially after the sports festival. Runa had a history of generously providing Maria with whatever she desired, including a treasured cat doll, which made Maria hesitant to cause any rift between Runa and Ryudo because of her feelings. Maria's priority was Runa's happiness, despite her own love for Ryudo, and she was willing to step aside, honoring a request from Ryudo before distancing herself from him. Upon hearing Ryudo confess that she was his first love, Maria expressed her gratitude and departed, feeling a mix of sadness and satisfaction from his admission. Ryudo watched her leave with a sense of relief, then promptly reached out to Runa, whose response caused him to blush. An unexpected scream from Maria abruptly interrupted their conversation, leading Ryudo to rush to the scene, only to find a suspicious individual fleeing. Concern for Maria's well-being prompted a call to the police, and both she and Ryudo were escorted to a nearby station. There, Maria recounted the incident after discovering the loss of her earring, while Ryudo was later questioned and advised to leave the investigation to the authorities. Runa, still on the line, arranged for her mother to collect Maria and expressed a desire to speak with Ryudo about his presence with Maria, scheduling a conversation for the following Saturday. During their meeting in the park, Runa preempted Ryudo's explanation with her concerns about Maria's incident. Despite Ryudo's intention to clarify his actions, Runa suggested they consider ending their relationship, explaining that her decision was not influenced by Maria. She believed they both felt the same way, despite her initial reluctance to initiate the breakup, acknowledging their shared moments and the realization that she couldn't force their relationship to continue. As they observed couples around them, reminiscing about their own shared experiences, they confronted the reality of their situation. Runa, on the verge of tears, and Ryudo, openly crying, expressed their regrets and misunderstandings. Ryudo reassured Runa, encouraging her to open up about her feelings, promising to support each other regardless of future mistakes. In a surprising turn of events, a young boy who was engrossed in playing with his toy car dashed towards Ryudo. Witnessing this, the boy's parents were taken aback and immediately offered their apologies to Ryudo. Although initially taken aback, Ryudo and Runa couldn't help but break into laughter over the incident. On a bridge, where Ryudo and Runa found themselves standing, Runa expressed her regret that Ryudo had missed out on his classes. Ryudo, in a comforting tone, assured her that it was all right. During this conversation, Runa revealed that she had been unaware of the feelings she had been suppressing for Ryudo. She confessed feeling unlike the sports car Ryudo had once mentioned, which brought about a sense of guilt in Ryudo. He urged her not to dwell on such thoughts. In a moment of joy, Runa declared her everlasting love for Ryudo, and as they stood facing each other with the sun setting and a train rumbling below, they shared a tender kiss. Subsequently, Ryudo expressed his regret for not being able to assist Runa in forming a friendship with Maria. Runa, however, reassured him, although she feared Maria might now harbor even more resentment towards her. Ryudo, disagreeing with Runa's concern, was about to explain his viewpoint when Runa revealed an earring, mentioning she had given the matching piece to Maria, hoping they could wear them together as adults. Despite fearing that Maria might have discarded it, Ryudo recalled seeing Maria lose an earring near a shrine. Seizing Runa's hand, he led her to the shrine to search for it. To their delight, they found the earring amongst some bushes, confirming it belonged to Maria. Ryudo took this moment to share why Maria had transferred to their school, a revelation that filled Runa with joy, knowing Maria's intentions were to make her happy. Grateful to Ryudo, Runa felt a newfound hope in reconciling with Maria. The narrative took an exciting turn when, during a class session, it was announced that Maria had won an award for her English essay. The class's applause, spearheaded by Runna's proud cheers for her amazing twin, left the room in stunned silence. Runna's declaration of their kinship surprised everyone, including Maria, who confirmed the truth. The revelation prompted Maria to pull Runna aside, where a heartfelt exchange took place. Maria, initially upset, was moved by Runna's gesture of returning the found earring and her expression of happiness upon Maria's transfer to their school. This moment of reconciliation was witnessed by their friends, who expressed their disappointment over being kept in the dark. Amidst this, a playful exchange ensued between Akari and Maria, lightening the mood. As the scene unfolded with the boys joining in, one of them prepared to confess his feelings to Maria. Ryudo, observing from afar, felt a sense of satisfaction seeing Runna's efforts to be a good sibling come to fruition. He looked forward to the upcoming winter, sharing it with Runna. Runna, seeking comfort, hoped for a hug from Ryudo, leaving him pleasantly surprised by her gesture. As Runna and Ryudo were walking hand in hand and talking about the upcoming Christmas, Runna was filled with confidence because she was given the opportunity to express herself freely. Holding onto Ryudo's arm tightly, she shared her happiness with him, a feeling she attributed to Ryudo's past encouragement for her to always speak her truth. This motivated Runna to decide to never hold back in showing her affection for Ryudo. She was curious about their plans before Christmas night, to which Ryudo suggested a more intimate gathering between them, showing his eagerness. However, Runna was actually referring to needing Ryudo's help with a plan called Operation Double Wingman, which led to a moment of confusion for Ryudo. Later, at a restaurant, Runna detailed her double wingman strategy to Ryudo, revealing her hope to bring her family back together. She was inspired by a tale of twins who managed to reunite their separated parents, forming a unified family. Runna had already discussed this plan with Maria, who supported it and intended to contact her parents to revive their old, happier memories. Ryudo hesitated, fearing he might be intruding, but Runna was convinced her father would be more receptive if Ryudo was introduced as her boyfriend. With her grandmother away, Runna saw Ryudo as her only support. After some persuasion, Ryudo agreed to the plan, and Runna was visibly encouraged. She wrote a letter to her parents, and during this time, Maria corrected a mistake in her letter, surprising Runna with her oversight. The arrival of a boy who greeted Ryudo led to a surprising moment for all, as they recognized him as Aikai, who had significantly changed in appearance, slimming down and growing taller. Akari, joining in, was shocked by Aikai's transformation, noting his resemblance to her idol, which left her both excited and troubled, especially since she had previously rejected him. In a playful turn, Runna and Maria suggested Akari reconsider Aikai, now that he had changed so much, leaving Akari conflicted given her past rejection of him. Meanwhile, Nicole found solitude on the school roof, lost in thought and considering whether to block Sekia's contact. Out of the blue, Nishi made his way over and initiated a conversation with Nicole, highlighting the common na in their last names as a sign of some destined connection. Nicole, perceiving Nishi's intent, suggested he look for opportunities elsewhere. Despite some reluctance, Nishi gathered his courage, but Nicole, somewhat surprised, still turned him down and left, leaving Nishi in silence. Unseen by them, Ryudo was watching, concerned about Nishi's unreturned feelings for Nicole. Elsewhere, a tutor, focused on the urgency of preparing for the upcoming university entrance exams, reminded that only a year remained. This tutor was dedicated to helping senior high school students excel. Ryudo, caught in the moment, was jolted back to reality by the realization that he had forgotten an important meeting with Runna's father, adding to his stress. In a bid to compose himself, Ryudo straightened up, adjusted his jacket, and in a moment of practice, saluted a Santa statue nearby, rehearsing his greeting for Runna's father. At that moment, Runna showed up, puzzled by Ryudo's actions. Trying to brush off his earlier behavior with a smile, Ryudo was urged by Runna to get moving. As they walked, the cold prompted Runna to draw closer to Ryudo. Upon arriving at the restaurant, they were greeted and led inside by a waitress, where Runna's mother and Maria were waiting. Runna explained Ryudo's presence, surprising her mother with the news of celebrating Christmas, a plan Maria was already privy to and supported. The revelation of Runna's father joining them later took Runna's mother and Maria by surprise, who had kept it a secret fearing Runna's mother's reluctance, given her disinclination to meet with Runna's father again. Nevertheless, persuaded by Maria and Runna, she agreed to attend. Their dinner was interrupted by the entrance of Runna's father, announced by a waiter, leaving everyone, especially Runna's mother, in shock. The father's introduction of a woman hinting at remarriage stirred a whirlwind of emotions, leading Runna to tears. In an attempt to comfort Runna, her mother proposed postponing the meeting, and seeing Runna's continued distress, Ryudo offered to escort her home, a gesture Runna's mother appreciated. Back at Runna's house, Ryudo's concern grew over Runna's silence. As he made to leave, Runna's plea for him not to go revealed her fear of being alone. Despite Ryudo's insistence that her father would soon join her, Runa knew otherwise due to her father's plans. Ryudo, steadfast in his stance, refrained from any close contact, wishing only genuine desire from Runa. Her sudden push in a bid for closeness accidentally turned off the lights, leading to a moment of confusion and a heartfelt plea from Runa for Ryudo's embrace. Overwhelmed by the emotion in her eyes, Ryudo hesitantly complied, only to discover Runa's feverish state as she fainted. In panic, Ryudo cared for her, realizing the seriousness of her condition. As he tended to her, Runa, even in her unconscious state, confessed her love for Ryudo. Holding her hand, Ryudo felt a profound commitment to protect Runa, who had become an indispensable part of his life. As Nicole was leading her client out, Nishi was watching her closely, thinking about the best way to approach her. Despite his initial thought of going inside, he hesitated when a man from inside the building tells Nicole that there were no more clients for the day and suggesting she should go home. Nicole said goodbye and started her journey home. Nishi, watching her leave, decided to follow her but was surprised when Nicole suddenly stopped, turned around, and then started running quickly. Upon entering the tutoring center, Nicole hardly noticed the receptionist who greeted her. She opened one door after another until she finally found Sekiya. Everyone in the room, including Sekiya, was surprised by her abrupt entrance. Nicole told Sekiya she would wait for him until the college entrance exams were over before she left, leaving behind a confused Sekiya. As Nicole walked away alone, Sekiya caught up with her to ask about what she meant earlier. He wrapped his scarf around her, and as they looked into each other's eyes, Nicole was touched. From a distance, Nishi decided it was time to leave but stopped to take a video call from Aikai, who was excited about Ken's upcoming live broadcast. Aikai hurried off to watch it. Meanwhile, Akari was watching her idol's live broadcast and comparing a photo of Aikai with the idol. Maria, sitting with her stuffed cat, thought about how Runa and Ryudo were a good match because of their kind hearts. While watching over Runa, Ryudo fell asleep. The next morning, they woke up, enjoyed some tea together, and Runa, feeling better, was happy to spend Christmas morning with Ryudo. She gave him a yellow bag containing several amulets she had made for steadiness and protection. Ryudo thanked her, promising to use them all. After changing into a new outfit, he wished Runa a Merry Christmas. Runa laughed, reminded of her father. Ryudo gave Runa a gift, a pair of moonstone earrings. Runa's grateful words made Ryudo feel happy, considering himself her Santa Claus. Runa tried on the earrings, excited about their future together. Later, Nicole and Runa were on a call, discussing their Christmas. Runa found it strange that Ryudo hadn't made any advances during their time alone. Nicole suggested that maybe Runa was the one who wanted more, leaving Runa to realize her deep feelings for Ryudo. Nicole explained that these feelings were signs of true love, which made Runa happy to have found true love with Ryudo. Ryudo was surprised when Runa took him to a photo studio. Runa reassured him and led him to the dressing area to discuss outfits. After changing, they took several photos together. Ryudo was puzzled by Runa's different demeanor afterward. She expressed her desire for him to see her in a new light, hinting at a deeper intimate relationship. Ryudo was shocked but then pleasantly surprised when Runa kissed him on the cheek.